So should we talk about 9/11? Or
Yeah, that was quite late into the film.
We were in the middle of our sound mix the day that happened on 9/11.
So
I remember coming into, we all found out about it, but everyone was like, well, do we go to work? What do you do? But like a lot of people, we did end up going to work. I remember the prevailing feeling was that what we were doing was so trivial.
This day in history, September 11th, 2001. So intense.
Seems kind of bizarre to be making cartoons,
It does.
It was really hard to get momentum and get excited about finishing the movie because there were such big things happening in the world. And the other thing that ended up being scary was that our movie was coming out basically 60 days after the towers fell. We just wondered, like, are people even going to want to go see movies? Right? Because there was such a dark mood in the world.
Even later was some of the scares about the anthrax.
Right.
And so here, a fundamental element of the film are these big suited guys, walking around, and we're thinking, oh, this is
But we've been making this movie for years, and this thing just happened to happen right at the end of making the movie.
We changed the scene.
Right. There
in
was
the
one
film.
scene that we
Oh,
changed.
that's right. We had a whole we had a scene
at the end of the sushi restaurant scene where Boo escapes from the restaurant, the CDA attack, they come in, the one guy says, all clear for decontamination, and as they're running away, Mike says, Sully, that could not have gone any worse. And the way it was in the original was
it was like a mushroom cloud in the
fireball
background.
of the restaurant being imploded, which was hilarious. Like we showed it.
forever, yeah.
And then it was the most unfunny thing.
Well, we ended up doing like a plasma kind of effects in the background.
Right?
Yeah.
But we got as far away from an explosion as possible because it was just so not something anyone
But even
wanted
then,
to
it was
see.
so uncertain. At the time, you're looking at it going, do we change it? Will this be funny again, ever?
The thing that I remember most fondly about that time is that when the movie did finally come out, we had so many people come to us and say, thank you. Thank you for giving me something we could go out and do as a family, because people had, sheltered their kids from the news, and again, the mood was so dark in the world.
And people weren't going out.
People weren't going out, but they went out to see monsters in droves. We had so many people come to us who were so happy that we gave them an escape from everything that was going on.
It was escapist, but it's also talking a lot about how to face fears, and I think, especially with kids, you hear a lot that this is a way that, Mike and Sully are a way that they learned how to not be afraid, and especially at that time.
Oh, he's a happy bird.
And it definitely feels like a Pete Docter film to me. I mean, even, and you animated that last shot, of Sully's face, and I think that sums it up for me. Just how much heart that you put in this thing and just how interesting this world was.
Well, I always wanted to do a scene in the film, but, the days are pretty packed, so it's hard to do. And that almost didn't come to be.
Right, we were arguing about whether Sully should go in and we see Boo or not, and then you had this idea that you ran with.
Showing it at the preview with an audience, it was just on boards. And I remember that being one of the points of contention that a lot of audience members
Well, that was one of the biggest notes.
We
They
want to go
wanted to
in.
see
We
Boo
want to
at
go
the
in
end."
with Sully and see Boo because they felt like it was working. That relationship was really working.
Yeah.
And so
Some
we got a
people would
lot of
take
pressure
that
for
note
that.
and say, well, then we should do it. We should go see Boo because lots of people want to see that.
Yeah, and there was a lot of discussion about it, but I just knew that no matter what we did, it would never be as good as what was in people's heads. And it was actually a fairly simple scene to do, which is another reason why.
The hardest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just an emphasis on the acting, and I think the story did a lot of the work for you,
Yeah.
That by the time that he opens the door and his face lights up, you're sort of primed for that, that the story had worked to that point, and it sort of resolves in a satisfying way that hopefully allows the audience to kind of create what happened next.
Ooh.
Kitty.
That's why I like it. It's hope for the future of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I cry
Resolution.
every time. I do. I cry every time.
Let's
I
try.
see that.
Kitty.
When I see his art.
I
The end.
The end?
Monsters
Get
Inc.
more?
The Monsters
Monsters
Inc.
Yay.
The Monsters Inc.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Hey.